From Spain to Denmark, a royal love without borders, Princess Leonor and Prince Christian. The cameras were rolling, the crowd silent. But when Leonor took Christian's hand in front of two nations, everything changed. This wasn't just romance, it was history in the making. They were never meant to meet. Two royal houses, two different cultures, two very separate paths, carefully carved by centuries of tradition. But somehow, through quiet determination, small gestures, and moments the world nearly missed, Princess Leonor of Spain and Prince Christian of Denmark found each other. No announcement could capture what their relationship truly is. No headline could explain how this love, crossing borders, languages, and expectations, has become something people across Europe can feel in their hearts. This story begins not in a ballroom, but in a quiet corner of a palace hallway. Leonor had just returned from military training, Christian from a royal engagement. The meeting was brief, polite, fleeting, but something lingered. And days later, when a diplomatic dinner brought the Spanish and Danish royals together again, Christian asked to be seated near her. What followed weren't grand declarations. There were no public displays, no dramatic reveals. Only shared glances, small smiles. Two teenagers burdened with royal responsibilities, suddenly finding something unspoken in each other, a rare connection neither of them could ignore. They started writing to each other. Real letters. In handwriting, with crossed-out words and hesitant phrases. Their words weren't perfect, but they were honest. Leonor once wrote, "Sometimes I wish I could be ordinary for a day, just to see if what I feel for you is still real." Christian replied, "I think I knew it was real the first time you didn't try to impress me." They didn't fall in love in one moment. It was many moments, quiet ones, her leaning slightly closer when he spoke, his eyes lingering when she left a room. Her laugh during a state visit in Denmark that made even Queen Mary look twice. They were careful. The world was watching, but their hearts moved quietly. Their families noticed. Queen Letizia, known for her discretion, spoke to Leonor privately. She asked one question: "Does he see you, not just the crown?" And Leonor, without hesitation, said yes. King Felipe watched closely. For months, he observed how his daughter carried herself after seeing Christian. He noticed the small joy returning to her eyes. And perhaps the greatest sign came during a private dinner when he gently placed his hand over hers and simply nodded. The Danish palace was more cautious. Christian was heir to a throne, and every decision carried weight. King Frederick, protective and measured, asked his son one evening, "What is she to you?" And Christian answered, "The only person who doesn't ask me to be anyone else." It was the kind of answer a father hears only once. The kind that doesn't need permission, because it's already been granted by love itself. And then came the turning point. A European climate summit. Both royal families in attendance. Cameras flashing. Reporters expecting protocol. But when Christian reached for Leonor's hand as they stepped onto the red carpet, everything paused. There was no scandal, only silence, and then quiet, stunned applause. That one touch shattered years of unspoken boundaries. Suddenly, they weren't just young royals. They were something more, a symbol, a hope, that love, when true, doesn't need permission. French media exploded. German headlines called it a modern fairy tale. In Madrid, Leonor's classmates sent her anonymous letters of support. And in Denmark, Christian's school released a quiet statement wishing him happiness, without even naming her. From that moment on, the story could no longer be contained. And still, Leonor and Christian refused to rush it. There were no interviews, no photo shoots, only more moments, a quiet walk in Denmark's royal gardens. A discreet weekend visit to Spain, where Christian was seen leaving a small church in Zaragoza, alone, but smiling. He'd lit a candle. For her, their love was growing not in the spotlight, but around it. Shielded by trust, strengthened by respect. And then came the surprise. In a televised Christmas message, King Felipe spoke of a future shaped not only by duty but by heart. And in Denmark, Queen Mary's birthday speech included a line about welcoming new ties across borders and generations. It was subtle, but the message was clear: the families had given their blessing. And so, weeks later, Leonor stood beside Christian at a small royal charity event. And for the first time, without hesitation, she addressed him publicly. "Thank you," she said, "for reminding me that honor isn't just in titles but in truth." The room fell silent. Christian looked at her, and with all the weight of centuries behind them, simply smiled. This wasn't just affection, it was devotion. Two heirs, stepping outside of history's rigid pages to write their own. And it hasn't been easy. There were critics, headlines questioning their youth, analysts doubting the relationship's diplomatic implications. But behind palace walls, none of that mattered. What mattered was the way Leonor's voice softened when she said his name. The way Christian stood slightly taller when she was near. The laughter they shared when no one was supposed to notice. And now, as both prepare for deeper royal responsibilities, military, state visits, national service, they do so not alone, but side by side in spirit. Because even if they aren't officially engaged, even if no wedding date has been set, everyone watching knows what this is. It's not performance. It's not protocol. It's love. And for once, in the history of two nations where every step is measured, two young people have chosen to walk toward each other, not as symbols but as soulmates. From Spain to Denmark, through letters, silence, duty, and risk, Princess Leonor and Prince Christian have shown the world something rare. That love, when grounded in friendship and grown through patience, can cross any border. And for the first time in decades, royal watchers, citizens, and young dreamers alike believe something they've almost forgotten. That sometimes, fairy tales aren't written. They're lived. And the world is lucky enough to watch.